My name is Rafael Lima. The following is a composite resume tape. It contains highlights from some shows and complete packages from others. Hopefully it'll give you some insight into my television production qualifications.
I began my career in journalism as a general assignment reporter for a Miami afternoon newspaper, the Miami News. My involvement in some of the more interesting and exotic stories prompted PM Magazine to do a profile on me as Miami's answer to George Plimpton.
His name is Rafael Lima, and his home is anywhere his stories take him. He's a breed of journalist you seldom hear about, one who writes of pain only when he bears it, who writes of beauty only when he sees it, who writes of people only when he lives life in their shoes. It may mean venturing into the depths of the Amazon jungle for a story on primitive blowgun hunters, but its involvement, Rafael feels, is necessary for writing features. When you read the articles of this Miami reporter, you know you're getting your information firsthand.
The PM Magazine segment went national. The executive producer of the show thought there was potential for me on television and approached me about an on-camera position. I began as a regular on the Miami PM Magazine show, the #1 rated show in the 13th market in the U.S. at that time.
Have you ever been stuck somewhere in rush hour traffic and wished you could get away to your very own fantasy island? I'm Rafael Lima in Bimini. We'll take you for a look at Ernest Hemingway's old bar, explore some of the world's best diving and fishing, and tour through an island paradise only 60 miles from the coast of Miami.
After a year and a half of learning the ropes of television production on PM, I put my newspaper reporting skills and my television experience to work and began reporting for the Miami Bureau Cable News Network. State officials has become a haven for persons involved in the business of animal fighting. Although cockfighting is almost routine here, dogfighting is also common. Recently, Dade officials raided a Miami kennel where pit bull terriers were being raised allegedly for the fights. The dogs, said a spokesman for the Humane Society, were being trained to fight by being fed live kittens. 47-year-old Eugene Thomas was charged with more than 30 counts of cruelty to animals and related charges. 43 states so far have passed laws making cockfighting and dogfighting both felonies. Florida has no specific laws yet banning either sport and attracts participants from across the country. Although these fights center around illegal gambling, local authorities feel almost powerless to investigate.
Well, we suspect that there's gambling. As I said, we don't know for a fact. It's difficult. Police officer and put them in an undercover role. You have to be inside. They've become so sophisticated out there that they have gates that you have to go through where somebody has to open the gate and let you in. It becomes a very, very ticklish situation.
Authorities speculate this to be one of the largest cockfighting operations in Florida. Here, police speculate thousands of dollars in illegal betting exchange hands daily. Security is tight and spectators are allowed in only by invitation. Our camera crew arrived uninvited. We were stopped at the gate and not allowed near the building where police and other sources allege the fights are being held. The only man who would speak to us on camera refused to give us his name and denied being there for the fights.
Do you yourself participate in the
No, I don't like it.
You're just here
I'm in the restaurant.
in the restaurant?
Finally, a man who also refused to be identified but claimed to be the manager of the operation asked us to leave.
Can I ask you a couple of questions?
Get out.
So far, the state of Florida has no specific laws banning cockfighting, although participants can be charged with gambling and cruelty to animals. If the state of Florida legislature passes the bill making cockfighting a felony, fights such as these, at least in Florida, may be a thing of the past. Rafael Lima, CNN Miami.
Another story revealed the Haitian consul's alleged attempts at terrorism against opponents of the Duvalier regime in exile. This is the headquarters of the Haitian American Association of Dade. Its director, Roger Biambi, is an outspoken opponent of the Haitian president for life, Jean-Claude Duvalier. He claims he's being harassed by Haiti's secret police, or Totomancouts, because of his political opposition. Biambi claims the Haitian consul in Miami, Alexander Paul, is behind it.
There are a number of allegations.
Which are?
Well, aside from firebombing this agency, he ordered his people to firebomb other places. In fact, what they've done is to import the same kind of tactics that they utilized in Haiti to shut people's mouth.
This man's name is Jean and claims he has been hired by the Haitian consul to spy and harass local opponents of the Haitian government. He has turned state's evidence and is now willing to testify against the consul in court.
I was hired by the consul.
To do what?
Like his, I was hired as his henchman and as his, what you call it, his terrorist.
Have you participated in any fire bombings in Miami?
Yes, I did.
Against who?
Against Mrs. Haven.
Ganine Haven is the co-chairman of the PPNH, a revolutionary group advocating the violent overthrow of the Duvalier regime. It was her salon that Jean and his accomplice allegedly firebombed. Do you have any reason to believe that, that the fire was an accident?
At the time of the fire, I don't believe so, but after that, you know, after I received several phone calls, they say the fire was not an accident, and if I don't take it easy, it will be worse, you know.
Are you a target now of the consul?
Yes.
The morning after this interview was taped, Jean was involved in a mysterious car accident. He was brought here to Jackson Memorial Hospital in serious condition. Hospital sources say Jean was brought to the emergency room after his car apparently ran off the road. He remains in intensive care, and information surrounding his accident is sketchy. The Haitian consul, Alexander Paul, refused an on-camera interview, claimed he didn't know Jean, and vehemently denied any wrongdoing over the phone. The state's attorney's office is currently investigating the allegations against the consul and have given what evidence they have to the FBI. According to longtime observers of the Haitian political scene, Totomancout operations here in the U.S. are nothing new. Much of it occurred during Papa Doc Duvalier's infamous rule. Now, say some, baby Doc Duvalier is using his father's tactics here in Miami. However, as one man said, the struggle to free Haiti will not be waged here in Miami, but rather on the steps of the National Palace in Port-au-Prince. Rafael Lima, CNN Miami. Because of Spanish fluently, I was assigned to field produce and translate many breaking international and domestic stories.
Y el partido en el poder y el partido en la oposición tienen una sola voz y es el pueblo el que ha repudiado las actitudes económicas del gobierno.
Nobody's in accordance with what the president said. 99% of the people are not in accordance, and they have shown this to them by going out in the streets and causing the disturbances. He was prepared to defend his business with his life. This is his business, his life. This is what gives his family food, and he was prepared to defend it. He also said that were they to come into this area, many people were armed like him, and to quote him, he said that it would have resulted in a massacre. From CNN, I was offered a position as a feature reporter and field host on AM South Florida, a Miami talk show. You ever looked up in the sky and seen a bird lazily floating up in the clouds and wondered what it might be like to actually be up there with him? I'm Rafael Lima at Kendall Glideport, and today I'll be bringing you the sights and the sounds of one of the most exciting sports in America, soaring. Powerless flight, gliding, soaring with the wind, a feeling of absolute complete freedom. I had always wondered, what does it actually feel like to fly one of these motorless gliders? How do you keep an airplane in the air with no engines? Well, with the help of our AM South Florida crews, I decided to find out. My instructor for the first flight lesson was Brian Thorpe, a veteran glider pilot.
Basically, the soaring technique is what you want to learn.
After a short pre-flight briefing, we checked our instruments. The altimeter would give us our altitude, the compass, our direction, the airspeed indicator would let us know how fast we flew, and the variometer would indicate our rate of climb, or how fast we picked up altitude.
Okay, those are rudder pedals, and they control the yaw of the airplane, side to side, just like a boat rudder. Okay. We use those in conjunction with the ailerons on the wings out here to control the turn, okay?
When we were ready, we hooked the tow rope to the nose of the glider as the vintage tow plane got into position.
And he signals us by walking on his rudder that he's ready to go, and off we go. Just wait for the tow pilot to get aloft, and we climb out together.
This was a critical moment. If he gained too much altitude, he could cause the tow plane to crash.
Just follow me through the controls to get the feel of it when we get off tow, and we'll go into our first lesson.
As we climbed out, the view was spectacular.
Pretty clear out here. You can see Miami Beach today. And even even Fort Lauderdale, as a matter of fact.
When we had reached our desired altitude, we cut loose from the tow plane.
Okay, we're at 2,000 feet. We'll pull a release. Go ahead and pull a release. And away we go. Off to the right, tow plane goes to the left and descends. And we're in free flight. Now you can get on the controls with me.
Now it was time for my first flight lesson. I was a little tense. I looked at the cluster of controls before me and completely forgot which one operated what. I placed my hand on the joystick and immediately felt the airplane respond to the slightest touch.
If we move the stick forward, just slightly, the nose drops. Our speed increases, and you get to see a little bit more of the horizon. If we apply back pressure to the stick now, the nose rises, the airspeed decays, and we have a high angle of attack, or a high attitude.
A glider stays in the air by riding on hot air currents rising off the ground. The longest flights can last up to 10 hours, but typically a first-time flight lasts from 20 to 30 minutes and costs about $30. And all too soon, that half an hour of wonderful freedom was over, and it was time reluctantly to head back to Earth.
Stick and rudder to the left, neutralize the controls, and we start our rollout with opposite control input. Got the airport in sight lined up. A little bit of a crosswind today.
As we came in for our approach, I realized we wouldn't get another chance at a good landing. We had to get it right the first time.
There's the touchdown. Rolling up to our spot. Right where we started from. And that's it.
That was fantastic. That was fantastic.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I want to go back up. That was great.
Many of the stories were adventure or exotic travel features. From a river safari in Venezuela,
We're about 35 miles north of Lake Maracaibo on the Limon River.
to the remote mountain roads of the Andes. Now, the people that are coming up the mountain have had to stop, and the people that are coming down the mountain have had to stop. There's a truck stuck in the middle, and that's just the way it is on these mountain roads. To hidden Mayan ruins in Belize.
So please give a welcome to our field host at AM South Florida, Rafael Lima. Indiana Jones. How are you? Have you ever been called Indiana Jones before?
No, never.
Well, I just
Not with
made
these
that up
socks
this
anyway.
morning. Oh, what? Let's see them.
Argyles.
Oh, Argyles.
hey.
Argyles. You should join Gordon Stevens, who's on vacation right now. He wears those kind of socks
Is
all
that
the
right?
time.
Yeah.
We'll have to trade socks.
Now, you do a lot of adventurous things, and we're in awe of you sometimes when he's up there on those high water towers and,
Oh, I
and
saw
out at the
that,
bridge
changing
and
the
all
bulb on the
that,
water
and with
tower,
the Jaguars.
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
What are we going to see today? What adventure?
Well, it's a Mayan ruin. It's one of the most inaccessible of the ruins, and it's in 500 yards right off the border of Guatemala. It's really an incredible ruin. It hasn't been excavated yet fully, and it's, like I said, it's just newly discovered, so why don't we take a look at it?
Okay.
Yeah.
The Mayan capital was called Sunantinich. Buried deep in the jungles of Central America, it has stood on this mountaintop since the time of Christ. 2,000 years ago, a Mayan civilization rose up around its limestone walls and created a culture with advanced mathematics, astronomy, and human sacrifice. Today it stands, an empty skeleton of a body long since buried. Sunantinich is located almost directly on the Guatemalan-Belize border. One of the most inaccessible of ruins, the mountain roads that lead to it are often impassable to anything but four-wheel drive vehicles. After several hours of roads like this one, we crossed a river on an ancient hand-cranked ferry. Then more bone-jarring roads. Then I arrived. Walking amidst these ruins, you walk backwards in time. The same stone steps I was taking, the peasant victims who would be sacrificed to Mayan gods had walked. What thoughts had run through their minds on these final steps? At the first level of the temple, I met Roberto Ponti, a local guide. He's a direct descendant of the Mayans who lived at Sunantinich.
Originally, we believe that the carvings went all the way around the main temple at the same level. And we believe that it may have been the roof comb of that particular layer.
Ponte took me to the top of the ruin where sacrifices had occurred. We walked through a maze of steps and levels to emerge at the uppermost platform.
This is absolutely incredible up here.
From here, you could see the surrounding hills and the courtyard, where hundreds of peasants had once gathered to witness the bloody rituals. A priest with a ceremonial knife would await the victim on the upper level, calling ancient gods. Then the victim would be placed on his back on a stone altar, and the knife plunged into his chest, and his heart cut out in one quick slash. The Mayan culture was built on blood rituals. Pieces of clay pottery found at Sunancinich show the practice of bloodletting, and even today, descendants of the Mayans continue their ancient traditions. In one village near Sunancinich lived many Mayan descendants. One, Don Ponte, a relative of the guide Roberto, is a Mayan priest who still practices some of these rituals, and he allowed our cameras to tape, for the first time ever, a Mayan bloodletting ritual.
He says that these are used to cure different kinds of ailments. This is the traditional Mayan healing.
What you're about to see may be graphic, but it is authentic and never before seen on television. Don Ponte uses stingray barbs as probes to jab first a vein, then an artery.
Don Ponte, explícame lo que es.
From the blood, he's able to diagnose illness and prescribe traditional healing. The child was not at all frightened and was not in pain. These Mayan children were subject to treatments like these since childhood. In our electronic, computerized space age, cultures like these, clinging to traditions dating from 200 AD, are few and becoming fewer. Soon, with land clearing and overpopulation, maybe these too will vanish.
Wow, what an experience, Raphael.
Yeah, it was.
Much of my work on the show proved to be live reporting from places where, if the stress of live television wasn't challenging enough, the location was.
Where are you at exactly?
I'm outside the Southeast Bank building, about 55 floors up, and it's about 700 feet down, as you can see.
My goodness.
It's just an incredible sight. You can see now the cars below me, they look like models.
Let me ask you something, Raphael. Are you afraid of heights?
I'm terrified.
Are you really?
It's not really all that bad as long as I don't look down, so I'll just have the cameraman look down.
Okay, how are you hooked up, by the way?
Well, I've got the safety line attached to a harness, and this cart runs on 2 cables. They said that they hadn't had any trouble with the cables at all, though one time Jose here did get stuck out here for about 3 hours, and they had to take out a window to get him back inside.
Carefully.
Now I just go over the side?
Go over the side, step right on down, these rings right here.
Okay. Now, this is really going to hold me, right?
That'll hold you, I promise.
You're sure?
I'm sure.
You guarantee it?
99%.
Okay, now, am I supposed to let go now?
You can let go, put in grips, bolts.
Okay. Well, Jim, here I am, hanging off the side.
Oh, Raphael.
Raphael, I got to tell you something, bud. We got to have a talk when you get back here, okay?
I've enjoyed my adventures in television ever since that original PM magazine story, and it was that story that summed up my feelings about journalism the best. Sometimes when you're out in a story, maybe it's someplace uncomfortable. It's hot, or it's wet, or it's lonely. But when I'm out there, I know I'm alive. And the kick is that everything is still waiting out there, just waiting to be written about.
And wherever or whoever you'll be next, Raphael, we'll be waiting to read about it.